Welcome to the Vetiver Vibes podcast. We're your hosts, Nikki Fraser and Rachel Dean, certified clinical aromatherapists. We are excited to have you here on today's episode where you know that you'll get the best essential oil scoop.
This episode is brought to you by Essentria, a leading online school for aromatherapy. If you want to learn more about how to become a clinical aromatherapist, check out the courses at www.schoolofessentria.com. Welcome to this week's episode of Vetiver Vibes. Nikki Fraser here with Jennifer Jefferies. Jennifer has been a naturopath and aromatherapist for more than 3 decades. She is the author and creator of the Aromatherapy Insight cards and 12 other books on natural health and inspiration. Jen travels the world training on intuitive aromatherapy, utilizing the Aromatherapy Insight cards, and speaking to corporations on preventing burnout in the workplace. When not traveling the world, you will find her surfing the beaches of Australia. And I had the great pleasure of meeting Jennifer. We were just talking about that, trying to figure out when it was, at the CFA conference around 5 years ago-ish, something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited. I had so much fun that trip, meeting new CFA people. It was great. Really cool.
It was. And we got to spend 2 days with you. One day was all about business, and the other day was actually focused on your insight cards, which is really what we are going to talk about today. But before we dive into that, we love to ask our guests, what is your favorite oil?
Vetiver. It's not even a question.
Yay.
And it's interesting. It's full on summer here at the moment. We are in the middle of a very hot, steamy. Where I live, it's like Florida's weather. We call them cyclones. You guys call them hurricanes.
Yep.
So it's like Florida's weather with Hawaii surfing beaches. Well, we have better surfing beaches. And my Vetiver is off the charts this year. So it needs to be hacked back again at the moment. I've just got a patch of it near my letterbox, and it's giant because there's just so much rain and humidity. Nice. So Vetiver, it has been for right since the start. It's
really same here.
Such a good oil.
I know, and people look at me like I'm funny when I say it's my go-to for so many things. It's just, to me, I don't know, it's so grounding, and it reminds me of childhood. So I think that's why I'm just dirt and playing in the dirt. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I used to, when in clinic, I'd put 1 drop in every single blend I made, every blend, because so many people, they're stuck in their head, they're not grounded. And so it would just bring a formula to the next level. 1 drop in any formula, for doing a treatment. Yeah. Favorite oil, without a doubt. I love I can grow it in my garden easily.
Yeah, even better for you. Love that.
Yes.
So what got you into aromatherapy?
I burned out in my 20s, and I was actually working in the pharmacy industry, working and playing too hard. Originally realized I couldn't do this any longer. I adrenally burned out, realized I couldn't do that forever. And I thought, well, a naturopath helped me get well. And I went, well, I'm going to start naturopathy. And you study massage first so that you can earn money while you keep studying. And one day, during one of my massage classes, Sal Battaglia came into class to show oils. And I smelt oils and I went, I'm done. So I did my full naturopathy ticket, and I specialized in aromatherapy. That's how I started, long time ago, decades ago, more than 30 years ago.
That's an awesome story. I love it.
Yeah.
And so from there, you then eventually developed your insight cards. And can you share a little bit about what gave you the idea for these, or how did they come about?
Yeah. So what we, as naturopaths, we had to also study things like kinesiology. So kinesiology in Australia is different to what North America thinks, and it's working with the emotional side of illness and works with all the meridians and things like that from a TCM point of view. And so I did a lot of work. The whole idea of emotions in illness grabbed me. It really grabbed me. And then I studied aromatic kinesiology with Robbie Zeck, and went, wow, this is really cool. So I'm combining aromatherapy and kinesiology. Loved it. I'm a bottom line kind of chick. and doing an hour and a half's kind of balance, I thought, what if our intuition is in such a place that we're so locked down in this logical world, we're just not listening to it? What if we had a tool to be able to just identify what the emotion is that's going on at that time? And I went, and I'd been working with the Australian bush flower essence cards and things like that, doing flower remedies. And I thought, well, I want to do that version for aromatherapy. And that was it. So I even remember I wrote a Post-it note, because I love colored Post-it notes. And I knew I wanted them to be called insight cards. So I wrote insight cards and put it in my diary. A few days later, Karen Osborn, who's the amazing artist, rang me, said, I don't know what I'm meant to do with you, but I think I'm meant to do something. And I went, oh, wow, you can paint my insight cards. And so for a year, she painted. I gave her all the oils, and for a year, she immersed herself in a different oil every week, lived, breathed, and she painted all the paintings. And at the same time, I did the same thing, but with the oils, using kinesiology to verify everything. So I wrote the book, the guidebook, and she painted the paintings. And a year later, we got together and went, oh my God, look at this. Like the marry up was amazing, because I told her no words. No words.
Oh,
I
that's
just gave it
amazing.
all. It was so cool, such a cool project. And yeah, we travel the world teaching it, and it's just so cool.
I love that, because I know I've always used, not always, I've been using different oracle cards, doing card pulls, anything like that for quite a while now. And I remember thinking when I got into aromatherapy and all that, being like, I wish there was something aromatherapy based. And actually, I had even started looking at trying to create my own. And I'm like, I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't have the creativity for that. And then it was maybe about a year later, there was your conference and you had them. And I was like, this is exactly what I want. I was like,
I'm
you
happy
are
to have
the
helped you.
answer to this.
Cool.
So I was so excited when I saw them, because I agree, where we get stuck in our heads and we just lose that intuition aspect of ourselves. And these are amazing ways of just, getting out of our heads and seeing what the universe, what our intuition, what our higher self, all kinds of different terms that people like to use are what we need in that moment. And so I just absolutely love that this was like the answer to what I was looking for.
Well, whether we like it or not, we're emotional beings. So we have to always look at that element of wellness. It's always plays a part. Doesn't matter what the physical thing is that's going on. We have to work with the emotional side as well. And for me, aromatherapy I love, because it works on physical but also emotional. It's the ideal modality. It's the easiest modality for us to integrate into any area of life.
Yeah.
Physically
And
it works.
It does. And like you said, it's not only are we emotional beings, but as a human, our mind, body, emotional, spiritual connection, all of that, there isn't a way to separate it. Like as a person, we are everything combined at all times. And so, it's a great way to do that with using all of it. Because some people, we get stuck. I find a lot of people get stuck on the physical, and they forget that there's way more to us as a human than just the physical body. There's so much more. So.
There is. And we live in a logical world. We don't live in that intuitive kind of world. So it's so good for us. And the more we use our intuition, the more it comes through. So I love part of this is helping to feed the right balance and conversation moving forward. The more you use the cards, the more you tap into your intuition. But we have to look at that emotional side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Or we stay stuck.
Right. So so for those who are just listening to the podcast, I'm kind of holding up the cards now. So there is an aromatherapy. So there's a guidebook, which is the guidebook that you wrote. And then there are how many, 42 cards?
42?
Yeah, 42 cards.
Yeah,
so I thought.
Muscle tested to see what oils wanted to be in the cards. I muscle tested all of that stuff.
And the paintings are beautiful. Karen Osborn did an amazing job of all the paintings. If you're just listening, I highly suggest hopping over to YouTube and seeing some of the cards, because they are absolutely beautiful. So how do we use them? How about we start with that?
Yeah, so I'm a bottom line kind of chick. So even like before I got on this call, I'm thinking, I was thinking, not feeling. And I thought,
Yeah.
here I am, I'm speaking to a bunch of prackies, and I very much wrote these for the masses.
Mhm.
I teach practically. I'm off to Korea in 2 weeks. I'm teaching Koreans. I've come home and I head back to Taiwan and China, do a lot of work internationally across all different countries with this. But that emotional kind of thinking thing doesn't work. And I'm thinking, here I am talking to practitioners versus talking to the general public. And I wrote them for the general public. And then my brain kicks in going, oh, be formal, be all this kind of thing. And then so I went, all right, what card do I need? I just need to know what oil I need right now. So I shuffled them and I'm here at my desk and I'm doing it in a hurry because my computer decided to do an update like life.
Yep.
And I dropped them. And one card was sitting up.
Yep.
That's what.
Nice.
And Basil is all about when you speak from your heart, you speak your truth. And I went, thanks, universe.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's perfect. So, absolutely.
Yeah. And so when I teach people, even when they know, and I know all of the oils back to front. I wrote the book. I know the words back to front. I still, as a tool, read the passage because I want to see what jumps out at me. Otherwise, my logic can go, yeah, I know, Basil. Okay, great. Yeah, Basil will help me. All good. So I sat and I read it. And, it's the herb of love for those in life who are able to utilize their intuition and express themselves in a straightforward manner. I wrote, allowing them to move forward from a place of fear and live from a positivity. Oh, reading it wrong. No, sorry, positivity and clarity. Speak with enthusiasm and act with integrity from your heart when you speak, and then you'll speak your truth. Stop worrying just for the sake of it and get on with life. And it was perfect. Yeah. Because my logic was going, oh, they're practitioners. I have to behave and not just be me and speak from my heart. So I went, yeah. So that's one way. I like the bottom line. But then there's sometimes we want more insight, more information, what's going on. So imagine it's about what the emotion is that's sitting behind whatever's going on, whether it's a circumstance, me dealing with a puppy at 62. I've never had a dog in my life and I've got a puppy who does puppy things. Interesting. I've been the crazy lady all my life. Now I'm a puppy mum. So there's that, or it's the physical things that are impacting your health. It's just life. So sometimes we want emotion, we want a more understanding what's going on. So if you do a 3-card reading, it's kind of, I talk about that you're choosing from a past, present, future. This is where you've been emotionally. This is where you are emotionally. And this is, use the oils and move forward to whatever in the future. So it's about getting more understanding. And then for some of you, some people need the 10-page essay, and I get it. That's an 11-card reading, and it gives you the whole picture as to where you've been, where you're going, what your priorities are. And then you can decide how you want to blend the oil. If you want to, like for me, literally, I just grabbed some basil, had a smell, I'm good to go. Yeah. Where other times I'll put it in a diffuser, I'll put it into a blend into a roll-on, I'll put it in a bath, I'll just have it around me. So it's just in a practical way, the person who's going to use the oil, you ask them how they would want to use the oil. But it's just whether a 1, 3, or 11-card reading to get a little bit of insight, a bit more, or a lot as to what's going on emotionally in your life. That's what it's about.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I know that is actually described at the front of the book also, about the 1, the 3, or the 11. You described them very well at the beginning as to how to do it. So that's all kind of step by step in the book. And one thing that you said, so a lot of our listeners aren't practitioners also. They're just people who are getting into essential just getting into essential oils and looking for some great, safe information. So I always love, people who aren't practitioners to learn that way too.
Yeah, same. So true.
But the one thing that you were saying, about the importance of reading it every time, I always say that's important for all kinds of things too, because you're coming at it with new eyes every time you're seeing it and reading it,
Yeah.
instead
Yep.
of just like you said, I know this, I got this, I've read this, like I wrote it in your instance.
Yep.
But reading it with the eyes of this moment right now is different than any other moment that you've read it. So
Yeah.
I always stress that for all kinds of things, that it's important to, look at it with the eyes of this moment.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed. Love it.
one thing I thought of is, I know I have a super fun, crazy story with insight
Tell
cards that
me.
I'll actually share in a little bit. But do you have any fun, crazy stories of using them where like something fun or interesting happened?
I've shared the story many times when I teach. When I first designed these cards, and look, there you go, it's the top card. That was pure ass, as we say, bergamot. When I first designed the cards, I was releasing, and this is 25 years ago, I was releasing them at the IFA conference at that time in Brisbane,
Okay.
in Melbourne, in Australia. And I was flying down there, decided to drop in and see my teacher, Sal Battaglia, on the way. And he, it's like, and we're going off to the teachers conference to share it. And I was so nervous. And especially to show your teacher, I just really was. Anyway, his assistant met me when I walked in the door, and she's going, show me this. And she grabs the cards and she's going, what is it? What one? I said, look, just for fun, just shuffle the cards and let's see what card comes out. And she is always that happy, jolly, kind of woman, and positive and upbeat and all those kind of things. And she chose bergamot. And I went, oh, interesting. Because we use bergamot kind of for people. The bottom line of it is that we're using it for people who are happy on the outside, but not necessarily so happy on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that to her like that, and she just went, no, I'm not. I went, okay. Okay, so
Right,
just for fun, just for fun, just shuffle and let's see what other oils you get. She shuffled again and got bergamot. And I went, bergamot. And she was not happy. 3 times she shuffled, 3 times she got the same card. In her frustration, in the end, she dropped the deck. And like I did before, there was one card facing up. In my case, it was basil. For her, it was bergamot. And I went, it's okay. She was beside herself. I'm going, it's nothing wrong. It just means your body wants some bergamot at the moment. It's okay. It's like, there's no right or wrong. And if you use the bergamot, it'll help to correct, what's really going on in the inside. And yeah. It was really interesting. I remember that moment so well.
My story is very, very similar. I so loved that. It was right after I'd gotten them. I think I was just playing around with them, and I shuffled and I pulled a card, and it was rosewood. And I didn't have rosewood though, so I was like, okay. And I just reshuffled again, and I'm like, I'll see what comes out. And I shuffled, and I pulled out again, and it was rosewood. And so I shuffled, and I had my kids even pull a card for me, and it was still rosewood.
No
They
way.
shuffled the deck for me, and I pulled, and it was rosewood. And I finally literally grabbed the deck and I said, I do not have rosewood. Stop showing me rosewood. And I shuffled, and I don't remember what I pulled out afterwards, but it was not rosewood. But as soon as I told the deck, I do not have this, please stop showing it to me, it listened, and I pulled something else. But it was just like, to me, fascinating that I shuffle it, my kids shuffled it, I pulled a card, they pulled a card, did not matter who shuffled or who pulled. Rosewood was clearly
wanting
like
to come
something.
It was it. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
And there was nothing that was going to change that until I physically told it, like, this just isn't an option for me. And it listened. So no,
that's the thing. We can't, and again, our logic says no. But it's like, no, it's totally the way it's meant to be. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's where we get to trust. We get to trust. Yeah, I remember I
Yes.
had a lady years ago too, another little wee story about how you choose cards. So when you choose cards, you're kind of asking yourself, you know, even like I did before, just what essential oil would be great for me right now? That's
Mhm.
all. Ask a question, or what essential oil would be, you know, I'm curious, what would be great for me to help me, you know, with my sleep? Well, it's not going to show you the physical aspects of sleep. It's going to show you what the emotion is that's stopping you from getting great sleep or whatever. And I was teaching a class once, it was more than 10 years ago, and this woman says, I want an essential oil that's going to help my son break up with his girlfriend. And I went,
Oh,
how about let's ask what essential oil will help you just to move on with your life and let him do his journey. And she was
right.
pissed. She
You
was
can't
pissed.
make that decision for others.
No, you can't. And so it's all about, you know, you're finding out where you're at. You can do surrogate readings 100%, but your
Yeah.
energy's got to be clear about
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah, they're a very practical tool.
yeah. And I think that's a great, that makes me think of, are there right ways and wrong ways to use the cards? And that was one thing, you know, that I was thinking of, like that, or, you know, I really want this boyfriend, girlfriend, someone to ask me out, someone to do things like that, where it's like, you need to focus on you and not the other people.
Yeah, because
A
how you're
big thing.
showing up is, yeah, how you're dealing with whatever the situation is. That's all it's ever going to show you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Is
it's
there, so when you are picking and shuffling, is there a specific way of doing it? Do you shuffle until like they stop? That's often what I do, is kind
no
of like as
rules.
a sign of when they stop or when pops out. I've heard so many different things when it comes to
Nah.
different cards.
As the creator of the cards, I want to share that there are no rules. There's no rules. The same
Good.
as I get asked so often, people saying, "Oh, I don't want someone else to touch my cards." Yeah,
I've
energetically,
heard
it's like no.
those. I've heard that too.
Karen and I sat and just meditated on this and reflected every aspect you could ever imagine about working with cards. And I think the guts of it is that they're created in Australia. And we are resilient people. We're not precious. It's that energy. They want to be played with. They want to be used. Use them. So even when it comes to shuffling, trust your intuition. If your logic says, I have to wait until a card pops out, well, that's your bloody logic. It's just, you'll know when to stop. The same
Yeah.
as you can actually lay them out. And when I've worked with them with kids, they actually lay out perfectly, not planned, across the top of a massage table. So I would lay them out and I'd say to kids, hey, pick the 3 favorite ladies. And or 4, or whatever I'd choose. Again, intuitively, and the kids are great because they haven't got all this other crap in their heads, and then they go
Right.
that one, that one, that one, that one, and it was so cool. Like you don't have to shuffle. The challenge is if you're going to look at them face up, you have to park your logic to the side because the normal thing is we'll look at one and go, maybe. No,
Yeah.
intuition
Or
is
like,
fast. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes,
or it's
no.
like, oh, I don't like the smell of black
Yeah,
pepper, so I'm gonna say no to that one. And that's why I'm
yeah,
like, I always say, I'm like, don't, no, you can't look at the images for adults because they're
yeah.
stuck too much in our heads, and you're
No
gonna
head.
find some kind of bias around something.
Absolutely.
So,
Kids for sure. Kids do so well just looking. You tell
mm,
them to pick 1, pick 10, whatever, they'll just go, yeah, that one. And
yeah.
that's it. And it's so I actually use the cards endlessly in clinic. And I had where my clinic was in North Queensland, west of there is all big mining towns. And 30 years ago, it's all, you know, fly in, fly out kind of practitioners.
Mhm.
And I was known for doing different kind of treatments because I'd only work on the emotional side way before I had these. I did all my kinesiology and stuff. And so people would come into the clinic, and one day this great big miner came into the clinic and he sat down and he went, so-and-so told him to come and just fix my back. I'm like, mate, I work a little bit different. And he's like, I don't care, just fix my back. And I'm going, oh. Anyway, I said, okay, do me a favor. Shuffle these and pick me 3 chicks you like the best. That's it. And he just went through really quick, gave me 3 chicks, you know, 3 women paintings. And Because if I'd said to him, oh, energy,
Yeah.
run, he would have run. Anyway, he picks me the 3 and I went, okay, you're back. This, and this is going on. And he went, how do you know? I went, they told me. And he's
The
going,
chicks
"Oh,
told you.
okay." Exactly. Whatever. Anyway, I did the treatment, sent him off with oil for homework. He had to go back to the mine for 2 weeks. He came back in 2 weeks later and went, show me the cards.
I
Now, he
love
was a
it.
guy who'd been going to practitioners for just the physical element of his sore back. He drove a bogger machine. A bogger machine is when they work underground, and literally it's like a big machine that just whacks the wall after they blow up the front wall. All day he sits in this thing whacking the wall to break off the loose rock. His body physically had every reason to be physically sore. The emotions that came up was, if you talk to any of those miners, they earn a lot of money. Even the toilet cleaners, the housekeeping people on the site earn about 100 grand a year, even back then. So it's big money, but they earn it, they come into town and they blow it. And if you talk to any miner, they're generally saying, you say to them, how long are you going to stay there? They say, oh, 5 years. And you'll see them in 3 years' time and you'll say, hey, when are you going to leave? And they say, oh, 5 years. I'll have it all financially sorted. And so it was his lower back, base chakra, finances, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I totally treated his back with oils for the emotion, not the physical. Such a different result. And he went from being the biggest buffhead, what we call a buffhead, big blokey bloke, to really into the emotional side of wellness. It was really cool to watch. So,
I love that.
But if I'd said to him, oh, energy, aromatherapy, he wouldn't have got it. So with everything, you learn to just, with your experience in that, you learn how to relate to people and share. So the cards are not precious. They want to be used. They want to be played with. Just use them.
I love that. I love that. And I'm going to take your tip too I never thought about, because I use them with my kids all the time too. They love it, but I still always put the rose side up and then they just go and they just pick whatever one they want. Or two they want, things like that. But I never thought of actually putting them down because you're right. They don't have that. They don't have the bias of anything when looking at it. So next time I'm going to just put them all out face up and have them pick a few and go from there. I like that. I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
as soon as that ego teenager thing kicks in, you're gone. You've got to. It's the truth.
It's the truth. It is. I know. And I'm laughing because my oldest is.
They're good. They're intuitive beings.
Yeah. I have a couple years before my oldest is there, so I'm trying to stay with it as long as I can before he gets to that point.
Good luck, Mum.
Yes.
When my boy turned 16, I went, "Who are you?" Like, for real. And he popped out of the other side of it at 20. He was a great guy, but hormones are gonna do what they're gonna do to them. It's a different world.
I know. Oh, anyway.
And that's when you're using lots of oils for yourself to deal with it.
Yes. And I know I'm already like preparing myself for all kinds of different things of even just when we travel or when I often get stuck in my head. Even just after my last pregnancy, I found I was just stuck. Like I knew my hormones were off. I knew all kinds of physical stuff. Like you said, the physical stuff I could tell was off and different things like that. And from the IVF meds, things like that, I could tell it was just taking my body longer to come back into balance. Sure. But it was the emotional stuff that I was like, I need to figure this out. And it was actually a great way for me to help with that aspect of it too. And I would often just do it in a bath. I love baths.
Yeah, I love it too. Yeah.
And after my last pregnancy, I developed this itchiness where I honestly had to take a bath every day, just for comfort. And so I was always like, okay, what am I going to have today? And I would just shuffle and I would pick only about 2 just because I was so fresh postpartum that I didn't want to overdo it too much. And it was amazing just to have different options every day too, to help my body for in that moment. It was really, really awesome. And now I know you also have a course though with these, an online course to help kind of go through it, explain it. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it came out of the pandemic, the world lockdown. I couldn't travel the world teaching it. So Karen and I recorded a series of videos where we go through the information on each single essential oil, and then how to do 1 card, 3 card, and 11 card readings. Now, when we do face-to-face classes, it's different because you get all the practical exposure and stuff like that. So this is like just a high-end overview course to help you, get better understanding and everything of using the cards. It's not a certificate course or any of that kind of stuff. You've got to do the hours to get a piece of paper, to say that you're working that way with them. But it is, it's a great way to learn how to use the essential oils differently for intuition. So, and you get to actually meet Karen, the artist. She explains literally why, the red inside the gold circle. She breaks down every element. And in the guidebook, we give that nowadays too, the latest edition. So in the video, she'll say why she painted the paintings, how, everything came through it. And she intuitively painted the paintings. And even that, I had no idea she was going to paint women. My mind, initially, I was going to travel the world and take photos of the plants in their natural state. And that's what the cards would be. And
that's funny.
When Karen came through, I just went, here's the oils, paint the vibe of the bottom line is paint the vibe of the oil. I didn't say paint women, paint whatever. I was so surprised to see the most amazing painting women. And I went, well, what did you do? Why did you do that? She explained, and she does on the videos too, that she got a very clear download that it was about honoring the women healers. And it's not even the women healers, it's that feminine healing aspect of life. And so it came through as women. Yeah. And it's so perfect. So perfect.
No, I love that. It's and like you said, if you can go see Jennifer in person and get the training, please do. It is absolutely amazing. But if that's not a possibility, the online course is absolutely great. I went through it when I've gone through it also, and it's, really great to see that insight from both of you that way, which was really, really awesome. And we'll have a link of that for that also in the show notes. So if anyone listening does want to check that out, check out the show notes. And now you have
questions.
Yes. Because you have other aromatherapy products and podcasts and all that type of stuff too. So what else aromatherapy products do you have?
Well, I just work with, again, my life is all about the core basics. I have that brain. And so I have just some aromatherapy blends, not a lot. I think I've got a dozen at the moment. And they're all blended for the emotional side.
Yeah.
So, if it's staying sane at work, staying grounded, whether it's that you need to play more and lighten up, everything's blended from the emotional point of view, not the physical, logical point of view. All of my work is that way. So I have essential oils on my website. I've got some other books, my Calm Kids book, for instance, which hand feeds recipes on how to use essential oils for kids. I've got my Amazing Sense book, which is my Aromatherapy 101 kind of book. And all of my books are beautiful, hard-covered, last you forever kind of books. I like that. I'm a kinesthetic kind of person, so I've made them really good quality. We ship them all over the world.
I was just going to ask that. Perfect.
We do. Sadly, shipping is shipping, but I promise they're books that will last you forever. And I also have a podcast, which is not an aromatherapy podcast, but it's my healthy life hacks, which is I am a naturopath and I teach people all the stuff I do, which is also aromatherapy. I teach people the stuff that I do to stay strong, fit, and healthy. I'm 62. I'm up at 4:30 every morning. I'm in the surf by 5. Like, I wish people got how good they can feel. I'm postmenopausal, happily, everything works. It's the way it's meant to be. And so I'm big on teaching people how to biohack is the word everyone uses nowadays, but biohacking is just how every little thing that we do through life decides how good the quality of our life is as we age.
Yeah.
And so naturopath philosophy is that we live from a place of prevention. We don't wait to do crappy sleep or crappy energy or crappy moods or crappy weight or anything. So if I talk about sleep, for instance, I'll talk about, using Vetiver to stop a busy brain. If you're waking between 2 and 4 a.m., use that. I am ADHD, in case you hadn't noticed. I ping all around the place, but I've lived with it forever. but I've managed it with no medication or anything. And I never will, because the difference is I don't want to focus myself. I want to ground myself.
Yeah. Oh,
So
I love that.
I've done podcasts on how aromatherapy, vetiver is my go-to every day, not negotiable, because it keeps me grounded. I have my brain even sitting talking, goes, well, I can tell them about this and this and this and this. Useless. Teach one thing, teach it well. And so I don't wait to ping. I go surfing if the surf was not right today. So I went for a walk at the beach, or I'll get into my garden. I know the things to do to have me live from a place of prevention, so that I'm in balance with a creative mind, big mind. And for me, ADHD is my absolute superpower. And I use Vetiver essential oil every day, not negotiable.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
The podcast is full of all that kind of stuff. And then I also do a podcast with my wife.
Yes.
And that's called, my wife is the Stillness Ninja. She is a amazing mindset coach. And her podcast, or our podcast together, is Smart Sassy Seniors. So we teach people how to age well and have a vital, bold and bright life.
I love watching the videos of you guys together. They're so awesome.
Thank you.
And even your healthy one too. It's I remember, what was it? There was one where you were talking about lack of vitamin A can cause bumps on your upper arm. And
Yeah,
I remember, yes, that's what it was called.
Justice.
And I remember, I think it was, I don't remember who it was, but one of my friends had it. And I was like, and it was just shortly afterwards, I was like, ooh, try adding vitamin, foods high in vitamin A.
Foods.
Yeah. And it was just so funny and interesting. So yeah, no, I love, absolutely. There's a lot of really amazing stuff that you talk about in both of them.
Yeah, and it's a combination of physical as well as emotional and mental health and mindset.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of all that kind of stuff. And it's very real and raw. It's not pretty and fluffed up. It's very real. and they're hacks. So most podcasts go between 10 and 20 minutes. They're short,
yours are always very short. And that's what I love about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, I think that's a great spot to kind of wrap this up. If people did want to get in touch with you, or actually beforehand, was there any last minute thoughts that you want to share with our listeners?
Aromatherapy is my absolute favorite modality. I have studied as a naturopath. You're like a GP, what we call a GP, a general practitioner. You're like the local doctor you go and see. So we have to study everything. But then we specialize in something, and I specialized in the emotional aspects of illness, and I used aromatherapy was such a big tool. And the reason I love aromatherapy is that it's so solidly, with great science to back it, looks at the physical and the emotional, and you can integrate it into everyday life so easily. And I really encourage people to start looking at using it from a place of prevention, not just treat when something's going on, because that's the true talent of essential oils, I think. Yeah.
No, I love that. And so if people wanted to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, you're going to have the links in the show notes.
I am, yeah.
By the way, you can follow me on Instagram. I am the present day wise woman.
Yes.
On Facebook, I'm Jennifer Jefferies, and Jefferies is Jefferies. You can check out the Smart Sassy Seniors. That's myself and my wife with everything we do. You can also just send me an email. I don't mind. So my email address, I think I put in what you did, which is jennifer@jenniferjefferies.com. You're welcome to do that. I have a full life, and yet I will still get back to you. I promise. I mightn't get back to you in 5 minutes, but I promise if you take the time to reach out, I'll get back to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. I really appreciate you coming on. And if people want to get in, their own Aromatherapy Insight cards, go check out her site and order yourself. Yes. Yeah. Because they are absolutely amazing cards. So thank you so much for everyone tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Nikki. See you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you for spending your time with us here at Vetiver Vibes. This episode was brought to you by Essentria, a leading online aromatherapy school. Don't forget to check out some of our free resources at www.schoolofessentria.com.
If you love this episode, or you got a lot of value out of it, please make sure you share it with someone in your community who you think would enjoy it too. If you haven't already subscribed or reviewed the show yet, you can go on over to your preferred streaming platform and hit subscribe, then leave a review. This is the best way to help support us, and we appreciate it. Email us with a screenshot of your review, and we will send you a free guided meditation as our way to say thank you.
This podcast is for information purposes only. We are certified clinical aromatherapists and holistic health professionals. If you have a medication concern, please refer to your health team. Everyone's health is unique to themselves, so the topics and suggestions stated may or may not apply directly to you.